Hey guys, I just wanted to put together a quick video to potentially help anybody who is not sure how to best assess their students in the online format. Most of us, when we're doing our quizzes and exams, we do it we write the questions to level the questions with the Bloom's level of the outcome. So if it's Basic Bloom's level 1, the question should be a level 1. Basic Bloom's 2, level 2 for the question, and so on. So this typically means for most of the courses we teach, most of our questions should be written at Bloom's level 1 and 2, occasionally a few at level 3. So the challenge is Bloom's level 1, remember, recognize, those are all multiple choice types of questions. The problem is those questions are all able to be answered by Alexa, Siri, and Google. So trying to write an online exam delivered through Blackboard that matches Bloom's level 1 is pretty darn near impossible to do and eliminate the ability of students to Google and to ask Siri and Alexa, etc. So unfortunately, we lose a lot of test integrity when we have to deliver exams online without any type of proctoring. So again, imagine sitting in your face-to-face class, handing out your exam and walking out of the room and saying, hey, do it, I'll be back in an hour. People would blow their heads going, you can't leave an exam unproctored. But that's the reality we're in because of the triage situation. The Blackboard does not have a system in place to proctor, and the college has not invested in a system at this point for proctoring. That's a further conversation down the road. But what I wanted to show you guys are some, I don't want to call them tricks, but techniques to try to decrease how to build your exam or decrease the potential for academic plagiarism and lack of integrity, etc., in your online exams when you're measuring Bloom's 1 and 2. Okay, so a couple things though I want to make sure I show you guys if you haven't seen them, and make sure you know the resources are there. If you're building stuff in Blackboard, definitely check out Blackboard Support Center. A lot of resources by the AEL, whatever department that they're being called at this point. The Blackboard Support Center has some great stuff to help us as faculty. So you get to that screen, click on the faculty link, and there's going to be the support center for the faculty. So all sorts of good resources here to help us figure out how to navigate Blackboard, build, manage, grade centers, etc. So I would definitely encourage you, check out these links or get in touch with them. The staff down there, Andy and Becky and Barry and Gary and Amy, are just killing themselves trying to make sure they can support us. So big, shout out, high five, whatever, to those folks. They're doing a phenomenal job trying to help us do this and navigate this world. So, all right, so what I want to do is run through just briefly how to set up a question pool, a test, things like that in Blackboard. So, all right, so here's a course I have, and what I'm going to do is show you guys how to do this just briefly. And again, I apologize for how limited and unrefined this is. But come over here to content area, call it exams, quizzes, tests, whatever. Make it available to users, submit it. It's going to give you this little bar right here. This is where you can house all of your exams at this point. So syllabus goes wherever, content, etc. You could do it under assignments, whatever's easiest. I like to keep it simple and the tabs self-explanatory. So you go, okay, now I need to create stuff. I need to build exams. I need to build quizzes. So this is where we want to come down to course tools. Got this huge drop down. Come down to pools, tests, surveys, and pools. Once you're in pools, you're in this menu, start with pools, and I'll explain why. So I want to build a pool, and I'm going to call this, I'm just making this up, Chapter 8 Multiple Choice Pool. These are all questions I'm going to do that are multiple choice based questions for Chapter 8. Submit. Now I want to create a question. Multiple choice. Your call. I don't worry about a question title. Which subatomic carries a negative charge? That meets one of our learning outcomes. Come down, show your answers in random order, fill out the answers. Electron, proton, neutron, nucleus, etc. You make up whatever you want, but make sure you have the correct answer checked. And then you can submit, create another. Once you've created all your questions that are multiple choice, you submit the pool. So now you have a pool called Chapter 8 Multiple Choice Pool. Okay. I want to create another pool. I'm going to build a pool. Chapter 8. Fill in the blank. These are all questions that'll be fill in the blank. All right, create my questions. Fill in the blank. These are usually a little more challenging. Now you could ask the same question. I'd vary it up a little bit. So there's the same question, blank, or let's ask the same question, same concept, slightly different question. The blank is the okay, same question, but written slightly differently. You still want electron. So you come down here, electron. Now, what I would encourage, contains. If you do exact match, they have to spell it exactly correct. They have to spell it same punctuation, same everything. If it's that critical, do exact match. Otherwise, you're going to get a dozen emails. Somebody spelled electron E-L-C-T-R-O-N. Somebody misspelled it. They put a capital E, etc. Those little variations the system won't recognize as what you may consider correct. So I would just do this, say it contains it, and then there's my question. Submit. I would definitely let students know when they're taking the test that you will go back and manually grade all the fill in the blanks. It will save you a lot of headaches because you're going to get a dozen emails. I think I got question 6 right, but the system said it was wrong. You put that out there, you preface every exam with that. Let me manually grade it. Then if you still have test discrepancies, please address those individually. It just reduces the number of emails, and it takes the stress off the students. That way they don't think, oh, I know I spelled it right, but what's wrong? They can go, okay, I'll wait until the instructor grades my test. So, all right, so now we've created our question pools. You can do this as many as you want, but what I would encourage is do several for every chapter, because what you're doing here is you're already writing the pools you're going to use for your final exam. Why reinvent the wheel? You've created a bank of questions, and then you can have the system randomly draw out questions from that pool. If you create one bank for all of Chapter 8, you don't know if a student will get all of the multiple choice questions or all fill in the blank questions or what mix and match they're going to get. So what I like to do is create different pools based on question styles, and I can say I want every student to get 4 fill in the blanks and 4 multiple choices. Because it wouldn't be fair if a kid got 8 multiple choice questions and the next student got 8 fill in the blanks. They're at different Bloom's levels. Okay, so create your pools. Now that you have your pools, let's turn it into a test. Come back to this screen. Test. I'm going to build a test. Chapter 8 test. These are all the questions from Chapter 8. Submit. Now I need to go and create a random block. This is going to be important here. Click on that. I want to go into the fill in the blank. I want all question types, and I submit. Now, ideally, I have a more robust pool of questions than just one. I can say, ooh, I want 10 fill in the blank questions, and each question should be worth 2 points. Okay? Obviously, I'm having an error here because I only have one question. But that means I'm going to draw 10 questions out of that pool, randomly assign them to the student. So make your pools as big as you can, 20, 25 questions. All right, I want fill in the blank ones. Create a random block. Now I'm going to go into my fill in the blank pool. Click that, all question types, submit. And now I come to my fill in the blank pool here. And I say, okay, I want these questions to be worth more, 4 points, because they're harder. So this is where you can start scaling your questions, the value of your questions. A fill in the blank question can be Googled in about 0.2 seconds. I would assign it less value. Personally, I'd give them 1 point for a fill in the blank or a multiple choice because they can Google the answer. Fill in the blank takes a little more effort. I give them more points there. I usually go 2 points on my fill in the blanks. How many questions do you want them to have that are fill in the blanks? You choose that number and then you hit OK. So now you've created a test. Time to deploy the test. Right now it's not deployed. Come back to your exams, go to your assessments, test. Hey, there's my Chapter 8 test. Dunk. I want to deploy it. All right, Chapter 8 test. And in the notes, what the students see, I'm just making it up, 10 multiple choice questions, 5 fill in the blank questions. That way they know what they're going into when they get ready to take the test. Make it available. Now, these are just my suggestions to try to decrease cheating within the system. Forced completion. They can't start it, stop, come back, do it, come back, do it. Set the timer. It's recommended 1 minute per question. So if you have 25 questions, 25 minutes. Auto submit. When time's up, they're done. If you leave this as off, they can keep taking their test. It'll flag it. It'll say, hey, it took them 38 minutes to do your test. Then you have to go back in and figure out where they should have been stopped. So auto submit means when that clock runs out, test is over. Do your display dates, when they can take it, the window they can take it between. Let them know. If you have any students who need extended test time, that's what this button is for. You can extend the test time on select individuals and then make sure that's included in include test and grade score calculations. That way it goes automatically in the Blackboard's gradebook. And then down here, this is one I learned the hard way. Do not click any of this. At least I would advise, do not click this. What I was doing is I'm like, hey, I want the students to see what they submitted, what the correct answer was, and then all the choices, so they could go back and review. Well, what they do is one student takes the test, and then they screenshot that question, or they screenshot the whole test, pass it over to their friends, and then their friends start learning, here's the entire test pool of questions that are out there, or most of them. This is happening. This is real. This is what students are doing, and this is what they're telling us they're doing. I have students who said, yeah, this is how I've taken certain classes when we had unproctored online exams. So take all that out. Don't let them see the answers to the questions until after the tests have all been taken. Then you can come back, open that up, and let them go back and review. I would also encourage one at a time. It doesn't allow them to scroll through the whole test and screenshot 25 questions in one shot. It again tries to limit the amount of academic integrity that may occur. And then the last piece of advice, randomize your questions. That way it scrambles them up and students get different questions just by pure chance. So hopefully this helps, but definitely lean